the show on the big screen. Yes, indeed. I want to say thank you to each and every one of you for following. Encourage you to share the show. So, Steve, since the guest is here, but you got to do your regular thing to play some sound so we can use that time to share the show so everybody can be a part of this very, very important conversation.
Most definitely, Mr. Connor. We'll run into that really, really quick without any waste of time. We'll run into it. Help us to share the show. We own no copyright to the song, and after this, we should be able to bring in our guests and get started with the conversation here. Please invite others as we get started. Let's move on.
Hey. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh. It was gonna be. Oh.
D12 on the beat.
If nobody talks about you, you are nobody. Nobody. If nobody chewing your bone, you are nobody. Nobody. They will know everything about you more than you know yourself. Yeah. They will talk, they will talk, they will talk just to bring you down. Yeah. They will spread all your bad news more than they spread your good news. Everybody wants to go to heaven, but no one wants to die. Oh, see, let them do the talking again. See, I will do the bluffing, yeah, yeah. Anything they say about me, please believe it. Believe it. Believe it. Believe it. Believe it. Anything they say about me, please believe it. Believe it. If nobody talks about you, you are nobody. Nobody. If nobody chewing your boom, you are nobody. Nobody. If you like it, you can hire your own there just to make it juicy. Juicy. If you like, you can pour your own there just to make it spicy. Spicy. I know you like the cheese and you like the fries too. The fries too. Sugar in the tea, cocoa in the coffee, anything you want to say. If they can talk about Jesus Christ, they can talk about Moses. They can talk about Abraham. Who they can talk about you? Tell me. See, and I had to explain it. And I had to justify. And I had to convince you. Please believe it. Believe it. Believe it. Believe it. Believe it. Anything they say about me, please believe it. Believe it. If nobody talks about you, you are nobody. Nobody. If nobody chewing your boom, you are nobody. Believe it. Believe it. Believe it. Believe it. Anything they say about me, please believe it. Believe it. Believe it. Believe it. Believe it. Anything they say about me, please believe it. Believe it.
Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I think I love the song like the guests also do. But let's get Elijah here really quick. Elijah, welcome to the show. We are all set to go here from Liberia Um, as we wait on Elijah, really quick, few seconds. Okay, so we'll move on really quick to bring our guests so that we can get the show started. Um, Madam Thompson, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How are you today? Can you hear us? I think she is frozen.
I think you need to
But
go out and come back.
Yes,
Is she in the United States? Is she in the United States?
yes, I'm sure she is.
yeah,
You might have to go out and come back.
No,
Madam
I take her
Thompson.
out so she can come back.
Yes, she'll come back. Yes, Mr. Kane. So while we're with Madam Thompson, I'm hearing, I'm seeing a lot of messages here.
Yeah. So
Steve,
basically,
Steve. I'm
I'm very yeah. I don't want you to be distracted and take those things seriously, or maybe even from part of your conversation.
no.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So that will not be relevant. So the conversation here today is very important,
very much.
and we have been talking about this over and over and over, that our country was in big trouble. But now that, okay, I think Elijah is back. So let's do this here. Okay.
All right.
Telco is also here. Tel,
Yes, can you hear me?
how are you?
Happy Sunday. And hello to everybody in the cyber world. We're glad to be on again. Hope your Sunday is going great, everybody. And
Yeah.
there she
So,
is. Ta-da!
okay. Yeah, the technology touch.
Okay.
I'm back.
Yeah. So Steve, she's back. Go ahead
Okay.
and start the conversation.
Well, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, Madam Thompson. How are you?
I'm fine. Good evening. Good afternoon. I'm doing great. Thank you.
Wonderful. Welcome to SKTV. I believe this is your very first time.
I believe so. My pleasure.
Great. Well, for some of us, and for maybe all of us, so far might not know who you are. Would you please let us know who you are and anything else you'd like to add? Just
And before she says something, let me just say this. I want to say welcome to SKTV. I want you to feel at home. Yeah, feel free. And we normally do this to everybody for everybody. And just a little housekeeping. We respect our guests. You can attack me. You can attack Tel or Steve if you want. If you want to attack Elijah, that's fine. But you can say you disagree with the guest. You can say, no, that's not true. That's okay. But there are statements that cannot be said on this platform. There are certain wording cannot be used on this platform. That makes this platform unique and reputable. So we want to ask all of us to conduct ourselves in a very orderly and responsible manner, as always. And to also let you know that we are live in Liberia on the radio station. So when we are speaking or saying anything, we are not just speaking for the audience in the diaspora or just on the internet. There are other people listening to us on the radio. So I just wanted to make sure that we are aware of those information, and those people who are also here to learn, to listen, even to ask questions, let it do it in a very reputable, respectful, and orderly manner. So that way we can have or fruitful conversation where we all can learn from each other and get out of here with smiles. Other than that, if anybody go outside of the norm, definitely will take you for safekeeping. So Steve and Mrs. Thompson, I want to say welcome to SKTV, like Steve said. So kindly take your time and tell us who is Mistress Thompson.
On that note, on to your guidelines. I'm Yuna Kumba Thompson. I served my country several capacities, but as Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs, I think where the part of it comes in, being a Deputy Foreign Minister and representing my country at different levels and serving at acting minister as well. One can think that I'm a diplomat, but it's from that background that I carry myself. My work is a guide. So I'm that person. I'm an advocate, or diehard advocate, feminist, a social entrepreneur. The rest of it is over. You can check, and I'll leave that. That's who I am. 3 basic things.
All right, great. An advocate, a feminist.
A women's advocate. I'm an author. I'm an author as well.
Okay, great. Well, no wonder why we say Liberian women are the most beautiful women on earth. You know, we want to welcome you to SKTV.
Yeah.
Well, we want to welcome you to SKTV. We want to get the conversation started here today. But first of all, asking maybe about, we'd like to know, based on the situations in Liberia, we've heard from our standpoint, some of our Pape and our Omane watching from back home, we always hear the word bilateral relationships. Some of us might be aware, but what does that really mean in the simplest terms so that our people can understand? What does it mean, bilateral relationship, and how is our bilateral relationship today as opposed to when you were there, when you were serving in the role to internationally speak for the country, negotiate, or have conversation on behalf of the country? Where do we stand today? Oh, I think she's frozen.
You want to know what is bilateral relations? Basically, simplest way, relationships between two countries. That's all. Bilateral. You know, whatever it is, you form your relationship. You form on, be it economic, be it but it comes from the country's own foreign policy. Foreign policy determines its relations with the other world, peace, economics, social. So when we have our own issues, what defines Liberia's foreign?
For some, for some reason, I think wherever she is, the signal is not too good. I don't know. Are you on the computer or on the phone? Yeah, because it kind of.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, but it's not coming out clear. It's gonna be breaking. So we want to get a best out of this conversation. So we want to make sure we hear you clearly.
Are you using an earpiece? Are you using an earpiece?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Coming in and out. It's just coming in and out. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's about the
connection.
So it's a connection.
Yeah, it's breaking out as well. So let me make sure. Let me make sure in that one.
If you're connected to Wi-Fi, that would be great. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. It's just gonna be breaking, but we can hear you now.
You still there? You can hear us, right?
I'm connected to Wi-Fi.
Okay, great. I'm not sure if you got
I'll try not to.
It's not you. It's the connection. So it's not your fault. Yeah, for some reason it's just.
You want to get situated and come back in?
I can hear you very clear.
Okay, but then.
I hear you.
But then go ahead.
Okay, great. So the second
Okay. See.
Yes, you're breaking in.
It's a signal. If what I'm saying is that if the Wi-Fi is not also good, you can disconnect from the Wi-Fi. Just go with the phone directly. That will also help.
Do you want to try your phone? You can connect from your phone too.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll be better.
Okay, but I'm hearing you clearly now. The statics is not on. So can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, but at some point you do break out. So I mean, we can try and see again. Are you there?
Okay, let's try again and see.
All right, great. So the second part of that question was,
Well,
since are you there? We might have to take her off for now and she'll probably come back. Can you hear us? Because you're breaking in.
I'm here. I'm here.
So I was saying the second part of that question.
I
The
can.
second part,
I can hear you.
all right, great. So the second part of that question was, since you left office or since you left your position, before you left your position, how was our bilateral relationship? And since you left office up until today, what is the difference?
Oh boy. Okay,
I think she
let
can.
me get up.
Yeah, get
Yes.
off and use your phone to come back in.
Yes, I think that would be great. That would be a good idea. Well,
All right.
folks,
So
if you are,
yeah. So Steve, just before let's wait until she can come on. But I want you to make this thing as easy as for her as possible in order to understand the question. When you say bilateral relationship, we need to be specific with which country, because Liberia has a bilateral relationship with a lot of different countries. So if you mean generically, then that's fine. But I think my thinking was that you were talking about with the United States. If I'm right, then just make it clear to her what is our bilateral relationship with the United States right now. That it was the time she was there. If not, if you are speaking generally, then that's fine. I just want to make sure.
I'd like to keep it generalized so that she can focus in context.
Okay, that's good.
So, but yes,
I think she's back, but it looks like she's still the line still getting. It's not too clear. Stay freezing.
Yes, we will. She will. She has to come back on at some point.
Let me see here.
Maybe if you remove her totally.
If she can get, let me remove her totally, and then she can get. What she can do, if she has a cell phone with her, she can just use her cell phone. That would be easier. So that maybe the internet there is not that stable. Yeah.
Well,
so I'm glad that people listening to us in Liberia, I think we are connected now. We're also having some difficulties there with Elijah's and the crew there in Liberia, but hopefully we are okay now. It seems stable. So let's hope that. I mean, the guest, she's in the United States, right? Where is she?
She's in Liberia, and
Is she? That's why.
she's in Liberia.
That's why. So I think she can use her internet. If not, she can use her phone just without the internet, without Wi-Fi. I mean, I see why she been struggling.
I think she is back here. Let's see for a moment.
Yeah, at least she's looking good now.
Okay, let's see for a moment. Let's see if we can bring her back on. Yes, I think you sound much better. We good?
We good.
Hello. All right, great. So the second part of my question was in light to since the last time you were working at the Foreign Affairs, what has been our bilateral relationships as opposed to now? How are they now as we speak?
Well, when we first of all, we need to understand that a countries deciding to establish relations with other countries start from their own internal affairs. So Liberia established relations with countries around the world based on its own foreign policy. So what is it that drives the Liberian foreign policy? In our own context, in our own country, first and foremost, Liberian foreign policy fundamentally is on the grounds of peace, coexistence. That means Liberia appreciates countries or foster relations with countries who believe in the existence of other countries, believe in peace, believe in economic, economic exchange. So overall, when we form a bilateral relations with countries, those are the key fundamentals. What is the thinking of Liberia? Who does she want to associate with? Who shares her beliefs? And that is how those relationships are formed. Now, when you say we have bilateral relations, basically we have we have a common goal, we have agenda, and that we fostered our relationships. Economics, what is it that Liberia gives to the countries that she has fostered relations with, and what is it those other countries can give Liberia. When you hear the big word they have bilateral relations, it means simply we have a common agenda. We foster relations. We coexist. We deal with each other. We husband and wife. We are husband and wife. We are friends. And this is what makes us friends. This is why we are together.
Thank you. Thank you for my last question here before I go to.
So in that simple term, you look at it that way. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. My last question here before I go to my fellow panelists here is it's reported that you, and I stand to be corrected, that you are the chief executive director of Women of Liberia Peace Network. What has been some of the accomplishments of your organization, especially with the challenges women and children are facing in Liberia currently in the 21st century?
Well, I think we go back. It's a non-governmental organization, and I was privileged to have been a co-founder of WOBNET, Women of Liberia Peace Network. That came about during the peace process 3, actually from Ghana. And the idea of coming together as an entity, to form an entity, was to help influence our country, influence our governments to keenly look at the socio-economic needs of women, including political as well, what affects them. And so as a development organization, there's never an end. And institutions do not end. Institutions exist, I believe, to be able to cater to the needs of the people. And for me as WOBNET, what we focused on was, first of all, to make sure we drive the message, we create awareness of peace, of non-violence, because of our background where we came from over 14 years of civil crisis and the many destructions, including human lives, not to mention the women and girls affected by that. So we felt that peace or non-violent society is very paramount to the survival, to the development of Liberia. So that became very crucial, and that continues to this very day. We raise our voices, we teach, we create greater awareness, we run after policy issues, all in the interest of making sure that whatever happens, women issues are dealt with. So you have peace, we have economic empowerment, we have political participation, involvement, we have social issues that have affected women and girls and continue to do so. So as we exist as an entity, our greater role has been to continue bringing awareness, continue to engage government, continue to engage development partners, continue to engage the public to bring attention to the ills of society that affect women that needs correction, socio-economic, political as well.
Okay, thank you
So
so
I
much.
think that's what's made me to more than ever be a die activist, but die feminist.
All right, thank you so much. That being said, a die-hard feminist and activist. We'll pivot to Tel for questioning, and then after that, Siku next. Joe.
Mrs. Thompson, good to see you. Very delighted to share a space with you.
Good.
Couple of questions, warm-up questions, because I know you're such a wealth of knowledge. Let's talk about your book. I saw that you authored a book a few years ago, The Woman's Shoe on Shattered Glass. Just the title alone. So it had me thinking. So I just wanted you to talk to us, just give us a synopsis of the book, what we need to know, where can we purchase it, what even drove you to even come up with such book and the title.
Thank you. The Woman's Shoe on Shattered Glass came about the need to share all of the experiences that I had been opportune to be a part of, to witness as well, to pen it down. And basically, it's all about gender. Things are feminine, and how can we look at those issues to be able to bring change? And that was the driving force. How do I tell the story? Was it just enough? Is it just enough to go about talking and talking about the issues? One way I believe to bring about change is to work with the minds. The minds. When people can read, when you write something down and you are able to have people read it, I think it lasts forever. And that, to me, that was the way I could have done justice in all of the work that I've been doing, to pen it down, to have society, to have men and women, to have our government as a nation as well, to help bring more attention to what affects women when it comes to politics, when it comes to their sexuality, when it comes to the culture, the traditions of our country, how they affect women. What are we doing about it? What needs to be done? So when you put on a woman's shoe, when you put the traditional Liberian or walk in somebody's shoe, how to feel the page. So a woman's shoe is like walk in her, take your moment to see yourself as a woman. See yourself as a woman. When you do so, what do you feel? What do you think? When you walk down the street, when you go into the supermarket, even as we converse right now, when you see me, when you see her, what do you see? When you see a little girl, when you see anyone that looks like a female, what is the first thought that comes to your mind? Who do you see? What do you see? That determines how you view a woman. So the woman's shoe is to let you walk in her shoes, read it, and see and feel all of the things that she feels as a woman. And then we can work towards to bring a change. And that is found on Amazon. On Amazon. On Amazon, you can find it. I just quickly like to approve the book to be introduced into junior and high school.
Oh, excellent. That's good. Excellent. And yeah, I saw it. This on there. I just saw it for 15.95. So encourage people to check it. I need to get my copy as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
Thank you. Speaking about the unshattered glass, I
I
think
know
you're.
those things.
Go ahead. There's a lag. Are you there?
Yeah, I think it started the
Yeah,
delay.
there's a delay. So we're talking about a shattered glass. I think you
I'm
represent
here.
that
I'm
very
here.
well.
Yeah. So
You
speaking
hear?
on shattered glass.
Yeah, I say you represent that very well because I mean you've held a lot of
Yeah.
roles. I mean, as a woman being a patriarchal society, so other women listen to you, other young people. What are some of your challenges? What are some key takeaways or some things that they can learn from to say, you know what, if Mrs. Thompson can do it, I can do it as a woman. It's a lot.
Yeah.
You know, call, so
Hello.
please maybe. Yes, we can hear it. There's just a lot. Can you hear us?
Okay. That. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Oh. You need me to repeat the question or you got it?
Just quickly, I think did I hear you say what do we take away from here? What we made on Shattered? What?
No, I was talking about just your role, being a woman in politics or in leadership or in government, and then wearing all the different hats. And somebody, a young person or anybody for that matter, be looking, will want to ask, you know, how can I be? I mean, she's a role model of unshattered glass, or you know, breaking the barriers. So what are some of your challenges that you have being in you know being in that role as a leader or in government? And what are some of your good moments? And what can we learn from that experience if somebody want to say, I want to be like Mrs. Thompson?
I think of in those moments as and that's where I think our awareness for me, my advocacy comes about. And so the challenges that women feel at all levels, many times you're not seen as someone who's qualified. You're not seen as someone who's capable. You're seen like one who oftentimes must be a supportive arm to the man. Must this is the second, and be able to up and say, you know, this is man. Regardless where society wants is to be able to, you know, to stand up and say, nobody defines me. I am who I am. To have the resilience, to know that rocks are going to be thrown at you, words are going, you're going to be your character, your feminism is your feminism as well is going to be attacked, and you must be strong. And then I think with not just getting up, not everybody, but it comes with the realization and learning that somebody is there, someone else has done it, and I can do it. And the resilience of it, the resilience of it is important as well. I you know get this and I have learned to say, hey, you don't define me. And that's what I like this song very much, and say you can talk about me, you can do whatever it is. You believe it. So when women, when girls, when we able to nurture that and let women and girls know that, hey, society may look at you differently. They may make you see you as an object, but you're not. And no one should tell you cannot do this. You cannot go there. Where a man goes, you do have the potential. You just need to be allowed to enjoy, develop your potentials without any barriers. And so when we say unshattered, I've been there. I'm still taking some rocks anyway. I'm still getting hits, but it doesn't bother me because, you know, I stand tall. I stand tall in the sense that I'm sure of my own femininity. I'm sure of my own potential. I'm no different from another human being, which is the man. So you can't put me down. And I want other women and girls to know that. And when you do realize it, it's like, hey, let's talk the issues. Let's move on. Don't see, I'm not going about physical looks. It's about what I have up here, what I'm capable of doing. And I have been there, but there's so many of our girls and women have not gone there. So when I say unshattered, it means that we've had some achievements. We can boast of we can boast woman as president in Liberia. You can be representatives. You can the vice president about. We can celebrate our achievements, but the glass is not shattered. It's not shattered until we see that society sees, our country sees that women are equal, and they need not fight to gain that equality. It needs to be recognized. It needs to be seen that we're equal at all levels, spaces. Until we do that, its glass remains unshattered. It's just a crack. It's not shattered yet. So we want to shatter it, and in order to do that, we have to. There are the cracks. I'm there. You there. The fact that I'm here today, it means we do have some cracks. In both only about it's not. I
The
be
internet
able
is not giving.
to talk that hey, but it's not enough until they glass completely, and you can sealing. There's nothing covering it, and then we.
Well, we're having some serious technical difficulties with our guests from Liberia. From Liberia, as you can
Hello.
see. Yeah, Sekou, you were saying something.
Yeah, if she can just forget about the internet, just go on the phone, and that would be better. Just use your phone.
So you want to call her, Sekou?
Hmm?
You want to call
No,
her?
I mean she can just use her phone
Oh,
and without Wi-Fi, because
oh,
the whatever internet she's using is not good. It's not stable.
oh, okay.
Are you there? Can you hear us?
So you want me back? I'm so sorry.
Oh,
No,
it's
it's
not
not
your fault.
you. It's not you. It's just the internet.
It's Liberia's
Yes, I
internet.
can hear you.
Okay, I mean, you continue with the conversation, Tel.
No, I'm done. I think
Yeah, Sekou,
I'll
talk to
wait.
you.
Okay, so if you can hear me,
So did you? I don't know if you heard.
yeah, we heard everything you said.
We heard you. It's just a lag, but we heard everything you said.
So
Okay, I can hear you.
it's okay. Yeah. So if you can hear me, I will be that would be great because this is very important as well. You know, Liberia is celebrating the bicentennial right now, and the United States Congress, United States House of Representatives, just came down with a resolution. They highlighted the historic relationship with Liberia. They also highlighted how much they have spent on Liberia, both on military aid to make the country stable, peaceful, and to improve the life of the Liberian people. I'm so bad. I'm feeling so bad that she's now on. But let me say this to the Liberian people when she comes to answer the question. So, in that resolution, they are saying they are calling on the State Department. Let me read a little bit of it. Calls on the State Department and the Treasury to continue to impose targeted sanctions. I want Mrs. Thompson to be here to answer this question.
Yeah,
Are
go
you here?
ahead.
You
Be
hear me
back.
now?
Yeah, yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So we're talking about the resolution from the United States House of Representatives that they are calling on the State Department and the Department of Treasury to impose targeted sanctions and other measures against those who are responsible for undermining the rule of law, as well as the faith and trust of the Liberian people through a conduct of corruption, gross violation of human rights, and other acts of threatening peace and security of Liberia. So, if the United States Congress can come up with this kind of resolution, if you are serving in the government now, especially at the foreign ministry as deputy minister of foreign affairs, what would be running through your mind right now, and what would be your course of action having received this kind of resolution from the United States uh, House of Representatives? I'm hoping she can hear me.
I'm gonna be very.
Yeah.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I'm gonna be all right. If such a resolution comes from the U.S. Congress, you say, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If they should come up with it, if there is such a resolution, the question here is if I'm sitting there and have to look at it, there are limits to what we can do. Our bilateral relations, our relations as countries, no matter how small a country is, she is a country because she has gained that independence, that that worldly recognition that she is a republic. Um, what do we lobby for? Do somebody does another country another country has to tell you what it is you need to do to manage your own country, to deal with the social issues, questions of corruption. If such a resolution is passed, we can say that it didn't come from a vacuum. It came from a request, not from home. Can you actually pass a resolution as compared to the United Nations? That's a big difference. As ill it is as it's with our own country, but line of demarcation, the UN, are of coming together to put forth issues and call on each country as they may be to adhere to certain resolutions because it affects them. If a U.S. Congress comes in and say, well, for human rights, U.S. Congress comes in as human rights and say, pass a resolution. How do we see it as a foreign ministry? What does it mean to us? Do we honor it, or are we discussing issues around it? That's where we have the discussions. We say bilateral discussions. That's why we have the missions around the world, that any such thing from country to country, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is involved with those parties as well. So I wouldn't say it's not their place to deliberate. I wouldn't say it's not their place to want to put forth some of those issues that they see that may be coming out of our own country as issues of concern for redress. That's correct. But before we get to the point where you have to come up with a resolution, I think it's just more than putting for the resolution and sending it to our country and telling them, hey, this is what you need to do. If you don't do it, this is what's going to happen. It's a resolution. The country can implement it or not. We have several resolutions today that are unfolding in Liberia. We've written them, and they have to go through the legislature as well. It has to go through the executive, through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. When you put up resolutions, you have to come back to our own country to put
Let me Mrs. Thompson, can you hear, if you can hear me?
and then
Let me
pass it on to our legislature as well. Them to take
if you can her signal is bad. I'm not sure whether she clearly got the information that I wanted her to speak about. Okay, this is not a letter written to Liberian government. This is not on information sent to Liberian government to add or to do something with it. This is the United States, the supervisory arm of the United States, directing the United States government to do something. The United States Congress writing or ordering the State Department and the Treasury Department of the United States government. It is unlike our own government in Liberia. The Congress here set the tone as to how our money can be spent. They approve the spending of the money. They propose what to be spent. They decide which countries should get help, which countries should not get help. The executive is there to execute. So with this, when the United States is talking about or asking the State Department and the Department of Treasury to impose sanction against those responsible for undermining the rule of law, as well as the faith and trust of the Liberian people, through corruption and other human rights violations that we all been talking about every day. First of all, what you need to put in the context, Steve, is that why is the State Department? What is the State Department functions? What do they do? When they put sanction on Liberia, what does that mean? Then you move. That's why they didn't put the United States government. They specifically call on two entities of the government: the State Department, that is responsible for foreign affairs, for foreign affairs. I'm looking at the relationship with other foreign nations, including Liberia. And then the Treasury Department, that is responsible to help you financially, that will control who the United States will help, who the United States should not help with money.
Well, Mr. Kane, Kane, just before we get the guest back on, because I think Tal just posted that she's on the phone because of the internet situation. But let me say something to that quick, and then we can maybe pivot to the guest. The statement you just made was strategic. Let's go back to both Senator Prince Johnson and what's the senator from I've forgotten his name. Senator Prince Johnson and another senator that was sanctioned let's go back to them. It was solely the Treasury Department that were focused on them.
Mhm.
This time around, they have, like you said, 2 governmental agencies that are called on. So what that tells me, it tells me that this other sanction is bigger areas of priority, which means it's extending to other countries. So that means if your name is on that sanction list and you get property or you get things that the government or the United States is doing business with, most likely they could target those businesses or those things as well. So this is big. But I don't know. We'll get it from the diplomat standpoint. I know tomorrow for sure we'll expand and ponder on this deeper.
We'll dig, we will dig deeper.
Yes. Tell if you're
But,
ready.
you
Please
know,
let us know.
yeah, it's important that we shine light on it today as well, because today is Sunday, and we have people listening to us on the radio in Liberia today. So when the Liberian people hear that the United States government or the United States Congress is calling on the Department of State, so for those people who don't know exactly what that means, in Africa or in Liberia and other countries, the State Department here is considered as the Foreign Ministry of Foreign Affairs. But the difference is the State Department here, they don't just go around do stuff. The United States Congress almost all the time set the tone or approve everything that the government do here as to who should benefit from the United States, who should not benefit, who should be sanctioned, who should not be sanctioned. So they are now calling on the State Department and the Department of Treasury, like we call it the finance. I don't know, that's the finance ministry in Liberia. So people that are responsible for the money, all the aid, money that they can be going to countries. And then, Steve, in that document too, they acknowledge the fact that how much, about 3 billion that
Yes.
they've spent on Liberia.
Yes, I think our guest is on the other line.
It's on the phone,
Yeah, she's ready.
and she can hear us now.
Yeah, she can hear us. Tell, but you're muted. We can't hear you.
Yeah.
So she is. Mrs. Thompson, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Can you hear?
Yeah, okay.
Yes, we can
Charles, can you send me a picture of her so that when she's speaking, we can highlight a picture somewhere?
Sure.
Yeah, just put a picture somewhere on the screen, then we can just put on the screen when she's speaking. So that way people know who is speaking. Yeah, so Mrs. Thompson, if you can hear me, the question I asked was that if you were in the government today and then you see the United States Congress not directing the Liberian government, not telling the Liberian government what to do, but United States Congress asking the State Department and the Department of Treasury to impose sanctions on those who are responsible for corruption in Liberia, people who are responsible for human rights violations, people who are responsible for threatening peace and security of the country, people who are responsible for Liberians to lose faith and trust of the country, that they should put sanctions on those people, and you are in government in Liberia. What would have been your thinking and course of action as to what can we do about this now? You were there now advising the president.
I think when you strike a key point, the Congress asking the Secretary of State to look at possibilities of a resolution against Liberia. And this is where it comes in, and that's the proper procedure. If the Secretary of State, the diplomatic arm of the United States, engages the diplomatic arm of the Republic of Liberia. So sure, the concerns can be raised with all of those issues put down, but the proper channel sent to the Secretary of State, the department, and the Department of Secretary of State takes that information through its various channels and is sent forth to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. If I was there and such thing was brought to our attention, you first begin with dialogue. Remember, we have relations, but we have to respect the sovereignty of each nation. And that is why we have not only the ministry, but we have its missions and embassies around the world. In the United States, we have our embassy in Washington, which is the key entry point. And when you cannot overlook the diplomatic angle and take the next step. Everything has to be done through that channel. So it's left with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the officials of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the experts in all of that to devise a strategy, to have a conversation, to look at the key concerns. You cannot, at the same time, ignore what is coming out. So be it true or false, we have a responsibility to take it seriously as a nation when it's channeled through the proper medium, and then our discussions start to look at the issues, the concerns, and come with an agreeable term or understanding of how to address them diplomatically. That's the first thing that needs to be done. So we can raise all of it, put the sanctions on Liberia, the Congress is coming out with this, the legislatures, it still has. And if we are advising the president, if we are talking with the chief diplomat is the president of the Republic of Liberia. It's the chief diplomat. So if I'm there, this is the conversation that happens, and this is what should be happening anyhow, because that's the way it goes. It's good that the public, those issues can be raised out, but we want to handle things diplomatically. That's what we are, Committee of Nations. That's what we have relations. That's what we say that's what it is. You tell the next one, this is what's going on. This is this we don't like. This is what's coming out of your country. Liberia can do the same as well. But it goes through the channel of diplomacy.
All right. Steve, you can take over.
All right, thank you, Mr. Kane. Really quick, we want to remind you, if you're watching us, where you're watching SKTV, wherever you are, we're in conversation here with Mrs. Thompson from Liberia. She's providing us with some insight in terms of the context and clarity about some of the diplomatic issues and her role as well in her organization for which she served. We also want to remind our guests, or to request our guests, so that we can have more questions in before we can go, to summarize maybe some of the answers as much as possible, so we can have more questions, because I know we are definitely keeping track of the time here also, and wanting people like to get more questions in from us. But I want to keep in line with what the question that Sekou asked about what's at hand, because this document was sent out to us today, sometime this morning. And as we review the document, we've seen that the United States Congress is pushing this. They've had a resolution. So this is not a joking thing now. It's no more muff talk like we're going to say in Liberia. But the most important part about it, as part of your answer, you said, if you go through the diplomatic process or channel or so forth, which is also our foreign affair in Liberia, to start to address this issue or to tackle it, to mitigate some of these situations as soon as possible. My question to you is the present foreign minister, Mr. Kimbaya, has not been seen, around the United States or in the United States. And it is alleged also that he has a case on him here for sexual, what is ostensibly corrected, quote unquote, abuse, harassment, or so forth. How is that going to happen? How is that going to work out? Considering he should be reaching out from a diplomatic standpoint.
Well, that's what it doesn't matter. The decision of who is put in a position of service from the executive branch constitutionally rests with the powers of the presidency. That we have to be very clear on. The executive, and when I want to say the executive, this goes across individual. That's our constitution. Has the power to appoint. That you cannot take away from the presidency. Now, having said that, whether the person is qualified, whether the person is a criminal, the president appoints and the legislature confirms. When that process goes through, it speaks for our country. Now, when you say the current foreign minister, I don't know from what source, whether he's barred from entering the United States. I cannot speak to that. I can speak to the fact that a question, an allegation was made against him, a sexual harassment allegation was raised against him, which I was also key into highlighting that it needed to be addressed. An allegation is an allegation until it is proven, until it is proven. So one is assumed to be innocent until you go through the process of the law. In terms of integrity, national integrity, the executive can look at all of these and say, look here, I want my minister, I want the person who represents me to be one of character, to be one as much as possible. When they step, particularly at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, when they step into the realms of diplomacy, when they have to engage, we want to have the least excess baggage. That gives you the strength to negotiate. You cannot negotiate at a position of weakness, and all of these things, hinder our country. Now, if that is not done, and we are where we are, the next step is we have our diplomats. That's what the Republic says. Diplomats around the world. That's what we have our embassies. So then the workforce are our ambassadors. So frankly, the Minister of Foreign Affairs doesn't have to be all over the place. The Minister of Foreign Affairs speaks, but the country is represented with foreign missions around the world. We have over almost 28 foreign missions around the world that we pay money for. When you talk about your budget, that's where money goes in, and that's the institution, that addresses all of those things. So when you want to set up resolution, you want to deal with the matter, it's not just going to fly from the Secretary of State and it goes straight up to the head office of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. No, it goes through channels. It goes either through our UN mission or it goes through our embassy in Washington. But Washington is the key. It's the political angle of our diplomacy mission. So it goes through there. And the rest, how the executive wants to see it, and it's the prerogative of the executive to make that decision. But it shouldn't, in terms of results, in terms of making the work happen, the absence of a foreign minister, not coming to the U.S. I don't know why. It's an integrity problem. It doesn't anchor very well for us, but it doesn't mean that the country the country is not moving. Because
Okay.
we have representation.
All right. Thank you so much. It doesn't look well in your own voice, but let me pivot back to something concerning your organization and your stance, your advocacy for women right or being reinforcing the feminist movement and so forth. I want to read a quote from the release that was on a foreign affairs website from the Republic of Liberia. Sometimes in 2013, you offered a training that would have lasted from September 30th, 2013 through October 11, 2013. But I found it interesting because I want to read what you said as a reminder to the public here. Quote: This is what you is quoted here. The term conflict, even though developed to connotate negativity, is a natural concept. Conflict is a perceived divergence of interest between two or more forces. It is an integral component of human existence that is an all mankind. The acting minister remarked at the ceremony. So with this remark from the plan of providing a workshop for women, my question to you then is, why not include men as well, considering men could be considered perpetrators as well as victims, since this conflict is with both parties per this code or with two people?
So why not include men?
Yes.
Oh, I think we include men, but remember that our focus is to strengthen and empower the woman. There's not an exclusion of the man, but you have to choose your fight. Who's the most affected? Where does it all start? So even as we do that, to strengthen, to empower, to encourage the woman who's been marginalized, who's been in many, in so many instances in our culture, has been treated biasly.
Mm-hmm.
Our work is to be to enhance that component, not forgetting that men are key to this factor. Men are key to patriarchy. Men are key to holding the mantle of patriarchy. Men are key to dismantling patriarchy as well. Men are key to addressing those issues that affect women. So they are an integral part. But our focus, our focus on the women and the girls, because they are the most affected. And we come together to address it, then we have a better society. I think I can be talking about, men are there. That's what we talk to the men. That's what we create their awareness. That's what we teach. That's what we say, dismantle patriarchy. That's what we're talking about, inclusion. That's what we're talking about, break discrimination. Do away with biases, break biasness, break culture and traditions that are detrimental to the woman and, of course, to the country as a whole.
Okay. Thank you so much. Chow, it's up to you.
Thank you, Mrs. Thompson. Want to talk about, still talking about gender issues. Want to talk about what's going on in Liberia. We follow the papers. We've seen a lot of news about. I'm just citing some example. The man put caustic soda in the woman, in her private part and sew it up. This child was ripped and died later on for complications. How's the gender issue? Is it getting better? Is it getting worse? What are your thoughts on that?
Since I returned back home in 2004, and it's taken me almost 15 years to I'm talking about these issues and creating awareness and fighting for policies to be not only policies to be written and implemented, but to make sure that we have laws that protect the the sanctity of women, that protects that bring perpetrators to answer as well. Every day, and all of the horrific acts on the bodies of women, they're happening every day. And it's not only our women, it's happening to our babies, our girls. And also the sad thing is that it's from our boys and our men. So here we are. We wake up every day, 15 counties. Liberia is less than 5 million people. 15 counties. And I can tell you, I haven't done the research, but from what we've gathered, every day, I would say, every day, every hour, a woman or a girl is violated. Now, and it's getting more, it's getting more horrific, like the scene you just mentioned. Like a demon, like something has taken over. It is more than just sexual, it's more than just rape now. It is doing things that are so much unimaginable that any man, any woman sat down and said, no, this has to be more than deviant behavior. This is devilish. What are we doing about it? And it's unfolding every day, every week. When we started way back, when we began to bring those issues forth, they say, oh, it's because the women don't dress all kinds of ways. It's because they're tempting a man. And then we say, okay, it's me as a grown-up woman, right? So I can be raped. I can be abused and violated. But then, because you say I presented my way, the way I dress, the way I talk, I caught it upon myself, I got drunk. But how about the baby girl? How about the baby girl who doesn't even know her, basically can't even say her name correctly? Or probably he can't even, what do you say to that? What do you say to a young girl who's just going by her business? So, what are we doing is getting worse every day. And this is what upsets me. And it's so tiring. Because the society and the men seem to think that it is a woman's problem. That's what my book said, the woman's shoe. Walk in the woman's shoe. Let the women deal with it. Y'all just talk about it. We don't just want to talk about it as mothers, as women. We have men folk. You are husbands. You are sons. You are brothers. And worst of it all, you live in the governance of the country. You are in the legislature by majority. You are in the judiciary and all of its branches. More men, you are in the executive. So, what's going on? And all of these people have men, they have women, they have children, they have girlfriends, they have everybody. And say, hey, yeah, a country less than 5 million people, 15 counties. Every day, every hour, a girl and a woman is being violated. And we do nothing about it. You mentioned about resolution. Early on, they talked about resolutions that come out. We have resolutions from the UN and the United Nations. Resolution yesterday was Female Genital Mutilation Day, February 5th. Liberia is a signatory to that resolution. Since 2006 to this very day, all we do is NSGM. And they say culture, Sunday. I come from the background of that. But the culture tells you to torture, to take away a bodily part of a girl. And we still have the law hanging. The legislature said, no, that tradition. The men around that tradition, yeah. Did you try getting into there to learn that tradition? Tradition should be positive, not negative. March 8th will be looking at International Women's Day. And every day the government has now taken over She goes and create and have a big program through the gender machinery. It's been like that time immemorial. And we activists, advocates have said, we don't need you to call conferences, government. We need you to pass laws to enforce the laws. We need you to enforce the laws to stop this violation on women's bodies, to stop the abuse on women's bodies. Nothing has been done. So yes, that's why somebody can take caustic soda. That's why the slaughtering of women and girls continue. That's why the physical and the verbal and the making women objects, their bodies as objects to be played with, to be destroyed, because they matter. By the end of the day, that is if the election time is coming. In the very same women as well, we go against. So to answer your question, I hope that I'm not, I'm getting really into, what really, drives me sometimes crazy. The very thing that we still don't have any answers. There's not one law yet to protect the girl or woman from such violation. All we talk, millions and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars spent. Nothing has been done.
So what can be done? What can be done differently now? Because we have the laws. People are not doing. We have people in government. We have things that are moving. What are some suggestions from you to change?
I think changing mindset. Look. I think it's a commitment. It's defining our priority. I think we have not the nation, even though our nation says we've achieved to have the first woman president, and we have the vice president, we have a sensitive first lady. We have all of these women, all of us have been in powers of position. We have the few in the legislature. Oh, we care about women's development. But if we only talk and no show, it's just talking. International Women's Day, I think last year, the president, His Excellency George Manuel Weah, made a pronouncement, and he made a commitment of 2 million plus whatever to fight to end, to see how violence against women can come, putting mechanisms to end it. I got yet to understand where that money is or how it's being done, other than having meetings and going to conferences and calling. And that's not what we need. Let's begin with putting a law into place. The domestic violence bill is being thrown out. It's been there for years. The past administration to now. When some of us talk, they say, oh yeah, you didn't get it during the woman's time. How are you going to get it now? And to end FGM, it's all that tradition. How about whose tradition more tradition than the other person in Liberia? But it's negative. And so what do we do? Because we have to be a country of law now. If the executive, if they don't stand and say, I make women my priority, and this is why, and I'm going to make sure to enforce it, and they feel it, it's not about me, Kumba Thompson benefiting. It's not only about me. So I must go true to what I speak to. We hear about, someone being sexually harassed and getting data sex for work, and the castigation of women and the discrimination and all of that. And we say, oh, there's nothing. Oh, they get a little girl. Oh, they this, that. After that, what happens? The family go in distress. That girl child her life is ruined. The family never recovers. And there's nothing done.
Yes.
We'll go our merry way. So yes, it's on the hands of the government. It's in the hands of government. It's
Okay.
in the hands of the executive.
Okay, it's on the hands of the government, Mrs. Thompson. Now it seems as though because one will say, yes, the George Weah government has a point that when a female was in charge, this female did not seem to prioritize women's agenda. And so I'll give you an example to this to keep in context as well. To this, my question. Are most Liberian women undermining women's agenda, considering when sometimes in September of last year or the year before, there was a huge uprising of rape cases and violence against women in the country, for which there was a march, and the record states that the president did not even come up to get a petition from the women. But yet, today, a few days ago, we saw women staging protests because someone wrote a book. So is it that women are undermining their own interests or their own agenda? What would you say?
Women like men, they are human beings, with their own special interests. We know that we can be political animals as well. So definitely, we do undermine our own interests. We do undermine, and that's the point. Women can become political prostitutes, as well as men. Women, we are held up to be the conscience of our society, the conscience of our country, because of our nature as women, our nurturing nature. So much is expected of us from that social angle. More empathy, more care, thinking and trying not to do things to whatever we do, we should, it comes from moral compacts, we should work with it from where we stand as nurturers, and that should define in the way we probably lead. Okay. But it is true that we do undermine. Is that because many of those people that are leading those processes, do they actually understand? Are they actually committed to the issue? Okay. Or are they just looking after their own personal interests? Social economics.
So, Mrs.
And that is why I believe that's why we've not been able to achieve anything. You mentioned a few days ago from a book. There is so much, and I'm saying to this book, we should bring women, and I'm baffled. Okay, you talk about rape, you talk about bodily, destroying women's bodies, the girls' bodies. You say government is not adhering to those issues, is not addressing them by law, whatever it is. Then you don't differentiate between the personal and the national. So what are we saying? Are we just women that anybody when they made laws on it, they see happy when they let the women go, and they say they call the women because the women got strength, and someone weaponizes that because we think we raising our voices on issues, and you take away certain things and you blow it out of proportion. No, we are undermining. We are not free from politics as well. Women are not free from that. When you talk about the recent act, I don't understand why any of that has to do with national issue. From a gender standpoint, from a feminist standpoint, as I look at it, when we talk about the excerpts of the book, I think that the most harm, the one who did the most harm, was the one who played on the vulnerability of the public, how gullible the public is when it comes to reading, that felt for their own personal gain, decided to take excess of it and disinform. There's a difference between disinformation and information. misinformation. So I think the essence of that was a calculated attempt to stir up the nation that's already fragile for political gain. Because when you do look at those excess, it has nothing to do with national matter. It has nothing, for example, to do with let me say, Mr. George Weah that's mentioned in the book. When you want to look at it, there's nothing. As a woman, there's nothing in it to be. The only wrong that person did was to sensationalize it in a way that the message was put out to the public wrongly, and oftentimes you take advantage of that. The sentiments of how people feel, be it socially, be it politically, and you ignite it, and we begin to go at loggerheads with each other. So I think we missed the point. And that is why, in terms of undermining the progress of where the progress for women in a country is very, very slow in terms of protection, safety, inclusion, and elimination of all discrimination. I think that's where it is. And people take advantage of that. And because we stand on different arms now, oftentimes it's not on the issue, but we're driven by politics and our own gains. And I find that to be very, very, very wrong, because you play on the fragility of the nation. In the heat of a moment, everybody is running helter-skelter here when there's nothing to create noise about what we need to be standing. We didn't stand on it. You're standing up to be running. You raise the issue. That's how it is. So definitely, women can be a part and parcel of it as well. I'm not accepting us from that at all.
So I have two follow-ups to that, and I'll be done and for the day. I guess we can open and over to Steve, because Steve is our moderator. So follow up to Steve's question. The reaction from the book. We saw, like we said, a lot been going in the country. We've seen it, we've heard it, but we saw the gender minister who's been kind of silent on a lot of things. I mean, just a few days before all of this, there was a funeral that took place for the girl that was raped and subsequently died. There was no post on gender website. There was no press release about it. Matter of fact, she did not attend, nor the First Lady or the VP attend the funeral of that child. But more so, we saw she gave a whole speech. We saw also traditional women. Thank God they didn't say women of Liberia. Thank God they said traditional women. And so they were out there led by Judy Andy. And so other people changing their profile pictures all because of this. What are your thoughts? I mean, do you think their actions were appropriate? I mean, you've been doing this for a long time. What are your thoughts about that, all of that?
I don't think the actions were appropriate. I do not think so. And I speak purely from a gender perspective, from a professional side of it, looking at the politics of it. Let's be fair here. Why would the inner ministry is doing what? Whom are you accusing? So I think you did more harm. You disrespected. I think they disrespected and dishonor, first of all, or highlighting the issue to dishonor and to embarrass. If the excess are true, they are Madam Weah. Because we talk about the person and the presidency, though you cannot separate now President Weah for himself as a man, but we have to be able at some point to still see him as a man, as a human being, as a person. And we have to look at him in his whole totality, even as we see him as our president. All right, my take here is this. A book is ready. I'm an author, and I know research is done. All right? And in the research, for whatever, there are three key reasons people write when you're writing. You want to ask yourself, why am I writing? What is it that I intend to get from it? And how is it going to be written? I would say that the chapter that we're discussing that says Mr. Joshua and I is not out of disrespect, because from my cycle, he's the excellence, is the president. But I want to see him as a man to practicalize it, to bring it to myself at home. And I want to see his wife and bring her home and see her as myself. So I think my husband writes something like this. The interview goes on. He's popular. He's a known man. Before Joshua became president, the man is a star. His orientation, he succeeded. He was open to different environments. So, okay, somebody wants to write about his story. Remember, the person is not his biographer. You have a right to write. And they do the research. And it happens that a quotation from him is inserted. And that quotation to me, though the writer could have used a different style of narrative in that particular context, in that love or in a romantic context, but he did it. And he decided, for better, not knowing, not being a romantic writer or whatever it is, he decided to write what they think Mr. Weir have said. And he didn't say, when you sit down and read it, it's like he's talking to someone, somebody is asking him, what do you feel, Mr. Weir? All the women, everything that you found, how did you find your wife? When did you find, what do you love about her? I think he actually meant to admire, to talk about his wife positively. I love my wife. I admire her. I'm a powerhouse. I'm a person who has power, but I see something unique. And he says, amongst her characteristics, this is what pleases me. And this is what we do. And I love my wife for it. And I chose her amongst all of those things. This also determined. So what's wrong with that? What is the vulgarity in that? What is it? What is it that is in there that defames? And earlier on I said, it's the person who intentionally took the excess from there and put out the information or disinformation with the intent to sensitize wrongly, with the intent to create confusion, with the intent to embarrass, because and taking advantage of the Liberian public, they do not read. Even many of us who say we educated, we can read, we do not analyze, and then say, oh, the man wrote bad thing about the woman. The woman so with solidarity. Hey, there's a morning time. If the man say, I love my wife because the person didn't read it correctly. This is what pleases me. My wife is dynamic. Basically, that's how I see it.
Good.
Why would you want to highlight that or make it an issue and embarrass? It's between a husband and his wife to say, oh, honey, you didn't, I didn't know you were going to say this. You kind of embarrassed me. But anyhow, no wrong done. So I think that the Ministry of Gender and all of those who are running about and talking about what they want, they're just helping to make things terrible and ugly and just embarrass us. Because as a wife, as a mother, as a woman, I think if my husband looked at my sexuality and talked about it in a positive way, I don't see anything wrong with that in this modern day and age. There's no insult. I think it is those who are purposely carrying on and making nothing out of nothing. I think they're the ones that have exaggerated and have created this whole embarrassment, I call it. An embarrassment. And it's not a national situation from a gender perspective. There's nothing wrong with that. There's no insult. It was not meant to degrade. It was not there to degrade. It was not there to insult. It was there. It was said to appreciate, to admire the relationship that I have with my spouse. If the writer, lack of a better style of writing, they didn't see it in a romantic way to have put it forth so that people who are standing by to just pick the ugly and put it out there when they think that you want to tarnish or hey, this is not for the presidency, you know? You want to go do your politics, you want to go run your campaign, you want to go ahead, but don't use the bodies of women. You know? Don't create for nothing. No, that's my take on it. And I think I applaud, you know, the embarrassment. It's an embarrassment to madam, you know, to Madam Weah. But hey, I can tell her girlfriend, you know, just let it go. Somebody didn't write it correctly. All right? But there's nothing degrading. There's nothing to be ashamed about. There's nothing to create the kind of confusion and misinformation that's going around. So that maybe the Ministry of Gender, I don't think they even understood. They sat down to read the whole thing, to analyze it from a gender perspective and come a way to deal with it. They fell into the trap. They fell into the trap of someone who just wanted to use something and say, there we go. Joe, we are not doing here. Maybe by the time you're talking about it, say, Joe, we are.
You, what are you doing?
You know, that's where men belong, you know? You know, the man is a man, they never talking in privacy. So the person who, and not the person who even called, who share the story, is the person who, but not even, I don't even blame the person who wrote it. Because it was just out there and we find it and we read it, we say, we imagine it, you know? Oh, the one is fantastic. Oh, man, we are not this way. And so what? We move away from every table. When they say your wife get woman, I marry my wife, she can cook good. I marry my wife because she can clean. I marry my wife so thing. Then you hear the girlfriends and the other people say, yeah, your I got your husband, I got a ring, you got a ring, I got the man. Because you can't do what you say, what you want. You don't take care of it. Huh? Okay. So one man come and say, yeah, my wife got plenty of beautiful characteristics. But amongst all the one I get dropped, so-called men, the way they say, I got it good. You know?
Well, I got it good in the words of one of Madam Thompson. We want to quickly do a pivot because we have about 15 more minutes to be here to give the audience time to participate. So we're going to put the number on here. Please, you have 1 minute each to please, whether it's a comment, whether it's a call, you know, there is the number to the ambassador. The ambassador will summarize her answers really quick so that we can wrap this up. And definitely will have the ambassador back. Not the ambassador, I'm sorry. We have Mrs. Thompson. We have Mrs. Thompson back, the diplomat back. We have her back, so that she can be, the Labrampo can say, Kolo, we can be looking at her in the eyes. It's so unfortunate that she couldn't talk about this. From her responses from the whole book and whatever came out, her response makes me laugh. So please place your call to this number. It's an interesting response. Please place your call to this number on here really quick to make your
Didn't wait about 2 minutes. I didn't even know the phone was in charge, but it's coming out.
Yes. So please place. In the meantime, we want to encourage you. Please, we are in conversation here today with Mrs. Thompson. She's been providing some very important insight and context, as we said earlier on, to this entire conversation, especially both from a national and international standpoint, which I think is important. Chel, do you have a point you wanted to make before we get any call here?
Yeah, I'll tell the phone should come on any minute. But I have one follow-up question, Mrs. Thompson. I mean, you're right, of course, they've been this gender thing for a long time. But get your take. You know, like you said, the man was praising his wife, but I want to get your thoughts on this part that says, okay, I'm not going to read the whole thing. She was tied vaginally, and then you go further to say, I think that's the one that most people are concerned about, including me, that says she does not remain laying on her back throughout their love making, like most women he had been with will do. What are your thoughts on that?
But basically, that, like I said, the writer decided why he wrote, and to be crude. And I would say lack of better writing style when it comes to romantic. I think that was a romantic component.
Mm-hmm.
I want to believe that's the perspective that if anything, the question was asked, or Mr. Weir may have engaged in a conversation from that angle.
Right.
If I was writing, I would definitely write it, see it, hear him, and know that he means well.
Right.
You know, this is what he thinks of his wife,
right.
which is good. Mm-hmm. And then go on and write it in a way that will, of course, bring that to us as women.
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
And show to us that, hey, there's one man who's appreciating.
Right.
You know, it's not just this, and this is what it is. And that makes the man stand out.
Yeah.
So, okay, he used the cool word, tight vaginally. Again, how does that degrade? How is that degrading anyhow?
I think it's the style of writing. I think it's the style of writing most of all. I think that's what got a lot of people, the style of writing.
But I think it's the style of writing, but it's not the man who wrote it. I think it's the one who purposely, whoever took that information and disseminated information, it was a disinformation.
Okay.
Because
yes.
not everybody writes, you know, from a gender perspective.
Exactly.
So you have to be sensitive. That's why he wrote without being sensitive
yes.
to the nature of our country.
Mm-hmm.
He wrote without being sensitive to gender issues. He wrote without being stepping aside and saying, no, I'm not just talking boys talk here.
Right.
I'm not just writing because the man said it. There's a message in what the man is saying.
Right.
It's more than boys talk. If I write it, the question is, why do you write the book?
Right.
What is it that you want to achieve? So if the writer wanted to achieve, you're telling the man's story, and in his story, the component talks about the man and his love life, or the man as a family, the man as a husband. If you write it from that perspective and you're able to gather all of this information, then how you put it out matters.
Exactly.
So he did not think deeply on those lines. Nevertheless, I want to believe it's a lack of not knowing how to write it.
Mm-hmm.
It was not intended. It was not intended. And I don't know this guy. Before I even saw the excerpt, I've already looked at a few comments here and there, and I came up with certain questions. He didn't sit down to write and say, oh, I'm going to disgrace the woman. I'm going to disgrace the president. I'm going to show up. I don't think he said he read that with the intent, you know. But if that was his intent, you know, who publicized it? Who only took that small component out, you know, and inflamed it? You know,
excellent. What is okay, Steve? Well, you can take some what Facebook or what? I'm not sure why. I'm waiting for this to come up, but it should be. I'm not sure.
It's okay. It's okay. We have 10 more minutes either ways because we definitely want to.
I need to get my charger. But
we have 10 more minutes.
I don't have questions, quite honestly.
If you don't have any more questions, then we will definitely turn to
But give it a second because
Madam Thompson here so that we can get her closing part
Steve, wait.
comments.
Where they want to ask them one question, just whisper. The fool come on, baby.
We have to.
We got 10 minutes?
Yeah, we got 10 more minutes.
10 minutes and 10 minutes. Where, Papa?
Yeah, but
Steve, 10 minutes and 10 minutes. Where small?
We have to make sure we are on time today.
Absolutely. But 10 minutes is 10 minutes. So I'm not sure. I need to get
per your request, and I don't want to get in trouble. So really quick, while we are at this, while we are waiting, we want to remind you quickly. We'll wait for one or two calls here to squeeze in one or two calls. You can also call me on my Facebook.
Yeah.
You know, if you have my Facebook, you can call me on Facebook, or you can call Tel on her Facebook as well.
Yeah,
you know, just using one or two questions at most, because we definitely got to get moving here. But here is an announcement I want to give really quick in the midst of this. I want to give this announcement. I want to remind you about Friday.
I didn't realize.
Friday, we are doing the prelude or the start off of mental health and wellness on here. It will be 6 p.m. Eastern time, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. I think it will be 11 p.m. In Liberia. I'm not sure if the ambassador will be on. If nothing, I keep saying the ambassador and the diplomat. Maybe you never know. Maybe in a few.
Don't end your ear on it because so many people call it ambassador and they just call me ambassador one
time. I'm very sorry. I don't know why, because you're in the diplomatic word, so maybe I keep using that word. But the diplomat, I'm not sure she will be able to follow us, but we're definitely starting the conversation. Initially, we're starting with grief and we'll talk about a little bit of grief and a little bit of trauma because to some extent they're associated. You know, they have some kind of correlation. We'll talk about them, both of them. We also want to remind you that we'll be on tomorrow to talk a little more about this resolution that was drafted or brought up by by Congress. And we'll be on tomorrow to go a little deep into it. Also, we have been seeing a lot of comments from people, and a lot of funny things I've been seeing. I've been getting a lot of impacts. Oh, address this, address that, address this, address that. Slow down, you're relaxed. We're not emotional people. When you know, when you have the facts, you have the facts. You don't rush to talk. Tomorrow, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it briefly, just to clear the air and give you some, how people want to use lies and funny things to be able to punish people, or they're not even acquainted with the facts. And it's critically important. Even as I was listening to Madam Thompson here, it's critically important for you to read, not only read with comprehension, be able to analyze the information. Because when you read with comprehension, you analyze the information, you have an understanding without any biases, or you stick with the facts and the issues. I think this is one of the things that's missing in our community and amongst us. So anybody can just come and say anything, it holds water. Or sometimes people even put information out. You don't even understand the intent of that information, and it was good to even have a perspective on this book because she provided a total new perspective as to, the person who published it, what was their goal. It's one thing to publish something, but it's one also thing to cherry pick in the information and publicize it. So yes, so tomorrow we'll be on Friday. We'll be on the mental health. We'll be on the mental health talk. As you can see the flyer there, we'll post it. Very, very interesting conversation. We'll post the flyer, we'll share it. And we'll be right here on SKTV. Thursday we'll also be here. But we got 5 more minutes till. I don't know if I will still get in trouble for that.
I don't know. Get my other charger. I'm not sure of this charger. I haven't used it in a while, so I don't know. But you can call messenger.
Well, I believe we got 5 more minutes. We can allow.
Yeah, you can call some messenger. If not, that's it, because I don't want to get the camera to go get my other charger. Yeah.
Okay, great. We'll allow the diplomat to maybe give her closing comments, and definitely we'll be reaching out to you again for this gender issue, because it's going to be part of our conversation. Mental health as well, mental health and wellness is going to be part of our conversation. We are definitely going to be reaching out to you about it as well. So, Madam, as I know you had approved for me calling you Madam Thompson. So, Madam Thompson, what do you say? What is your closing pardon or comment to us today?
Thank you first of all for having me and for taking interest in these issues on Liberia, which is good. We still need to keep talking and talking. Two things. February, Republic of Liberia, we got to find a way to end female genital mutilation. March, it is coming on. We need to hold the parents responsible to make sure that all of it, we pass the laws. The president needs to stand up and do. We didn't do it many years ago, but he needs to do that. And I would appeal the public to people. We've come too far, Liberia. We can't afford to just have a few people who want to talk and create chaos in our country. We cannot afford to keep following them. We cannot afford. We must be able to read. We must be able to analyze. We must stay away from this basic dancing. Our country is very fragile still. And women and girls are dying every day. We need to focus on the bigger issues. Finally, I will speak to this issue on 19th. I have my book on Amazon, The Woman Shoe on Shattered Glass, under my name, Kumba Thompson. It is worth making noise over, not for nothing noise. It is worth buying. Go and buy it. Let me ask everybody there and the whole public to go buy it. And to my sister, to the wifey of, I want to the president because in it from the personal level, to Mr. George Weah. Sister, don't you be troubled. Don't be troubled. It was meant for good. And we appreciate, as a woman, as a mother, yes, my femininity, who I am, I salute it, and we can talk about our sexuality. And men, our husbands, our spouses, there's a derogatory way you talk about a woman, and there's the way you talk about how to admire her. We should look at that. I admire and I love for men to be, but for us who write, for us who speak, let's be sensitive to the public. Let's be sensitive. Let's stop using our privileged platforms to create chaos. Let's work and use our words to build, to uphold society, to appreciate the sanctity of women and girls, to do the right thing. It doesn't echo well if we incite, if we lie. We can differ politically. But we must come to understand that we have one nation and one people. When you hurt one, you hurt the other.
Exactly.
When you hurt one, you hurt the other. And we have to choose our fights. Advocates of women and the Ministry of Gender, you have to rise up. You have to understand you are a policy-making body. A policy-making body, you are the advisor to the president and to the country, to the governing branches on women's rights. When things come up like that, you have to be able to find a way to manage it. Not everything will go on the street. We're not running to be on the street every time women. We passed that stage.
I know, right?
Yeah, we passed that stage. Women, we have to put our thinking caps on. We cannot be driven by every drum. We cannot dance to every drum. We cannot let people use us to go against each other. And at the end of the day, they are benefiting anyhow.
Exactly.
They are benefiting. They are reaping the benefits of our agony. My book is out there. Do you see any man sensationalize it? Do you see any man? The only person in the report, who actually provided support in the Liberian contest was Jefferson Koji. He launched my book, and he said this book is worthy of being introduced in the educational system.
Oh, that's nice.
And I remember in the launching of the book, he said, I wonder why the people are not here. Like where women, like the people are not here. These are the kind of work that we need to support.
Right.
Why don't he gave me a more free? And that resonated with me. You know? So we need to begin from there. Now you have somebody write something that it was not meant to be ugly, and we gave power to the one who disseminated the information against our own interests, and got us embarrassed and got us looking like fools and running back and forth. I'm sorry. There's no shame in there. What was being said about a woman? There's nothing degrading. If anything else, it affirms. And it should encourage us to speak out about what we do. How you say it is different, whether the burden be on the one who wrote it, and the burden is the one who calculated, who intentionally took it and put it out there with the intent to do evil and no good. That's my word. So I stand ready, and I'm a feminist, and I stand on those issues, and as you say, I'm a diplomat. I'll try to be diplomatic.
I don't like that song. I like it.
All right. Thank you so much. We appreciate you, Madam Thompson. We'll definitely be getting back with you, especially on this book. I want to order my own first.
Yeah.
I'll place my order, and then hopefully we can reach out to you so that we can discuss this book in detail, out of politics, or maybe from a social context, from an educated standpoint of view, from an informative standpoint of view, and to also help elevate the conversation in our nation. But thank you so much. We appreciate your time and your services to our country, to our people. Thanks for all you do. And we'll definitely purchase the book so that we can reach out to you to discuss it in details. We're going to be summing up here.
Yeah, let me take Mrs. Thompson. Thank you very much. And
Yes.
for followers who enjoy Mrs. Thompson today, she goes on Filter. She tell you as it is, like her or hate her. She will be on Focus on Liberia this evening at 6 o'clock. I think she's there with a team, and she will be talking what catch her heart. And I'm sure she will not miss her words again. So if you want to see part 2, catch her on Focus on Liberia, 6 p.m. But sis, thank you so much, and we'll be in touch.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, bye-bye.
Well, just before we leave, I have a lot of people reaching out to me, especially family members and loved ones that have told me don't wait for tomorrow, because when you get foolish people and people who don't know well, who pass around and say a bunch of foolishness every day,
Like the video we talked about last night.
yes, that are not informed, come in a public space, and they got a bunch of gullible people. I'm getting to it really quick.
I'm seeing comments here today. I'm just like, not massive.
I've got a bunch of gullible people that also follow them, so they run with misinformation and so forth. Let me lay the premise to something first before we leave. It was this same person that told me a few weeks ago. Somebody sent a video to me as well, and I listened to it, but I thought it was childish and foolish. It was this same person that said I was never elected because one or two people from Arizona, which I know those characters are well, all of them, they're the same group of people, pass around and gave them 5 cents or 10 cents to insult people. That's how they are now, or to just misbehave or speak out lies. Say I was never elected by the people in Arizona, when as a matter of fact, on the record, I won on web ballot. Even the people that gave him money and gave him the information were at the election site, and there are videos to prove it. But we don't pass around boasting about ourselves or talking about accomplishments or whatever it is. That's a side point. That was the first misconception, the first foolishness that I brushed off. The second foolishness that I'm hearing, and Telco, I will use this opportunity to also advertise your business. When we took over for the Librarian Association, we didn't have stamp, we didn't have letterhead, we didn't have lots of things for the secretariat and so forth. Telco was the one that helped us. Even with logo, we didn't have it. Telco was the one. The communications are there, the informations are there. Telco was the one that helped build the logo, the stem, every other thing helped us.
Letterhead.
The letterhead and everything.
The meeting template, weekly, the monthly meeting templates.
Everything. Telco was the one that helped us put it together and build it. And guess what? We pay out of our pocket because we have to promote. In as much that we have relationship with Telco, we still have to promote her business too. We have to promote what she does. We have to. That's what we do. We must help one another, elevate one another, not in stupidity or foolishness, but in reality, in facts, so that we can move Liberia forward. So we did that. We never asked the association for anything. When we took over the association, practically 5 cents we never had. But we took it from our pocket to be able to pay to sustain the organization because we love the organization. We've taken no step in this organization without informing the appropriate leadership or authorities. Fast forward, we have not even had an inauguration to tell you how much people can lie and they're foolish. We have not had any inauguration. The inauguration is scheduled for May 21st, and there is a committee responsible for it. Do you know how much is the hall for the inauguration? Do you know how we generated the money for the inauguration? Bear in mind, keep this in mind, that when we took over, it was just the end of December that we got an amount of maybe 3,000 or less from the past administration, which we don't complain. Just for the hall alone, I'm not talking about other things or to do all the runaround, whatever it is. It costs almost 4,000. 4,000. So we are generating the money to be able to pay for the hall. We have not even had an inauguration. So how can you write somebody for something that you don't have? How can you? How can you? That's one point. In the last meeting, per our constitution, when you have 10 people present in the meeting, you have a quorum, you can have conversations. We reached out to the body. The body was in the meeting. The records are there, very clear. Not because we don't go on Facebook like to say, oh, we're having a meeting. I'm not interested into all of that. I'm not interested in it. I'm interested in doing work. I'm interested in doing work. I am interested in doing work. I'm not interested in to show off. No, that's not my interest. We had a meeting. The Liberian people voted, even in the meeting, to collect the money to pay for the hall. Donations. Mr. Sekou Kane was in a meeting. He even donated an amount to the association. He contributed to the association. Other people in the association contributed. Being the leader, I also contributed for us to secure the hall. Look, when you know, you know. When you know, you know. But aside from that, the ULA, the Union of Liberian Association in the Americas, they are the mother association. And from the time we founded, the Liberian Association was founded in 2004, recognized in the United States. They have never been part of the ULA. As part of our agenda when we took over, we did present our roadmap as to what we want to do. And that's what we are working on. And part of our goal and our agenda was we cannot be in America and not be part of the Union of the Liberian Association in America. It doesn't make any sense. It's like you want to go register an organization. You say you're an organization, but you're not recognized by the government in Liberia. What sense does that make? What sense does that make? Or you want to register an organization, but you're not recognized by the state or the federal government. All the thing you'll be talking about, just laws you're making. You have to do the right thing. I don't care if you is political or what. That is not my business. But the right thing must be done. We must follow the right steps. We come here, we criticize people to follow the right step and do the right thing on a daily basis. So we must lead and set examples. We must. I can tell you that. So yes, the body agreed for us to register ULA. The first meeting we ever held. The first meeting we ever held. We reached out to the board agreed. We brought it to the leadership. All of the local association or the tribal association in Arizona, we reached out to the leadership. We had a meeting. We voted on it. They agreed before we reached out to the general body, and the body consented in November for us to do it. So we proceeded in filing the necessary paperwork, and we will be in Philadelphia in March to the inauguration of the new EULA leadership. We'll be there. That is the right thing to do. They see where I can criticize CDC-led government, but I'm open to work with CDC-led government for the benefit of our people, as long as they will do the right thing. Yes, we can walk and chew gum. Politics are not hate. We can walk and chew gum. You like want to play the politics? Let them go and play the politics. As long as I'm there, I will state opposition. I will have a voice on the table for my people in Arizona and for the people in Liberia. That's what needs to be done. Not talking about your bunch of noise makers there. I don't know anything. You don't know anything. You come in the public space and just talk because you can insult people's mother and insult other people. You think that communication? You really think you're making sense? You really think you're making sense? The time is coming where some of you will be isolated, alienated from the society because you're bringing nothing but a bunch of garbage and noise. You're bringing nothing to the table but noise. The same thing we're talking. You're bringing nothing to the table. You're not even informed about the facts. You want to sit around and talk. You think that everybody you can talk about? You think that everybody you can insult? You're clueless. You don't even know what's going on for the most part. Your people who are sending you $50 and $100 here and there to misbehave, the time will come, they will get tired. The time coming, they will get tired. Because we will do what is right. You can carry all your gossips and your lies or whatever it is. I challenge any one of them to provide the facts that Steve Boley has taken 5 cents from the Librarian Association. I challenge any man or woman. I challenge you.
They play why you even said that you not start sitting there for money.
If anybody should be requesting the Librarian Association pay them any money.
I mean, Steve, I wouldn't be paying no mind about that. People know your reputation.
We don't want you to do it.
Not
do you know how much you've invested? Do you know the time and everything?
Yeah, I think that's okay.
Folks passing around in person, they didn't come in the public space where Google people that should be discussing serious national issue and matter, sensational people that you're passing around, you're making noise.
That's okay. The Librarian organization for you. I think, Steve, let's go. Don't let
it.
No,
that Librarian organization, some people in the Librarian community here in Arizona, and I know who they are. I know these people who think that they're entitled. They hate change. They hate change. They think that they are entitled. They refuse to come to the context to run for the Librarian Association. They withdrew their candidacy. They withdrew in the last meeting. Even after withdrawing, guess what they did? They requested the money that they pay to register, to tell you how much they don't love the community. They requested the own money that they pay to register so that they can be on the ballot. They withdrew in the last minute. The people voted us on white ballot. They went and lied to him, saying that we were not voted. But there are pictures, there are video evidence to it though. We were even sworn in that day.
Yeah, but if you're not voted, then it's not you to blame. It's the people who was also enforced.
And we talk about the organization, and we talk about the organization, and I'm like, what's wrong with these crazy people around here? You know, and then now they're accusing us of taking the Librarian Association money. My question becomes, look, the Librarian Association bank statements, they are here. It's just that it will be unethical to pull it up in the public. Yeah. It will be unethical. No. But listen, you can request these facts if you want. Nothing in America is hidden. There is no secret here. We're not where in Liberia where you can say to the legislature, oh, I published my asset, but only to the group of people. No. It's clearly to the public.
What's your
call West Fargo. Ask about the Librarian Association of Arizona. Call West Fargo and ask them, when you have no clue, don't speak about issues before you make yourself to look funny. Because when the facts come out, you will get funny face. So the person who brought the announcement, who insulted my mother, who said what they wanted to say today, guess what happened? For your information, this is free education to you. They lied to you, yeah? So you will look funny, it's up to you. You can retract it. You can apologize. You can do what you want to do at the end of the day. It's on you. The facts are there. The facts will remain there. And there was, let me say this today. Let me say this for some of you who don't know some of us because you see us on Facebook. Let me say this. My personal life is different from your Facebook thing. That's why you've never heard me talk about my personal life in public. And I will never say so. I will never talk about it. I'll keep it to myself. There is in no way, I want you to keep this today. There is in no way, shape, and form I would take anything from anybody, steal from anybody, corrupt or rob anyone. If I would die with hunger, I would die with hunger. If I would beg to eat, I would beg to eat. I would take nothing from no one. I've never done so when I was suffering, when I was in Africa. I will never do so. I was taught the right way to work for what I want. This is why, even I see me on Facebook, people who know me, I don't call in to work. I don't call in and say I'm sick. Unless maybe I travel or something comes up. But even when I'm not well, I go to work because I was trained to do so. I was trained to do so.
It's okay.
Every day of my life. Every day of my life I work. Every day. Some of you don't know. You have no clue. Every day I work. Sometimes even she can ask me, what time do you have to sleep?
Right.
What time do you have to rest? When you don't know, you don't know. But when you know, you know. We'll leave it as that. You can go verify the information. And these are facts. And the records are here. This video will stay here. Anybody want to challenge what I said today? I challenge you to challenge what I said. Bring the contrary. Bring the contrary that everything I say here today is not true. That the Librarian Association, both the leadership, the board of directors, along with the general public, never approve anything that we've done so far. Go and check it and see. Check the record and see. The person who gave you the information, the people who gave you the information, they have never been to any meeting. The roster is here. If their name is on that roster, I'll resign as Librarian Association president. The person who wrote you, I'll resign.
Steve,
I put a challenge up to you now.
You know, I mean, don't waste your precious time giving people, people for free publicity on a good platform. You know, like I always tell you, there's certain people that should not be on Facebook. They should not, because you misuse the good intent of technology or social media. So I wouldn't, because tomorrow there's going to be a follow-up video with the cussing and all of that. I didn't listen to it. Of course, I would never listen to, whatever the source. But I just saw the comments. I'm just like, what's going on with Steve? Steve, defend yourself. Steve, you got to clarify. I was just like, what's going on? But I knew I had to ask you behind the scene. But I was just say, leave it at that. I think you dressed it fully. And, your character speaks for itself.
We move, Mama. We don't want to talk about it again. That's why I didn't mention anybody. The people who were involved with it, they know themselves. They know exactly who this is going to. They will take and govern themselves and move on. And we welcome them to come to the meetings. Please, maybe you didn't know, and we forgive you that you didn't know you spoke out of ignorance and carried gossip and lies and chichipole to another ignorant person who does not understand the issue and just took it and ran with it. But we welcome you. Please come to the meeting. Your contribution is vital. Librarians for everybody. The Librarian Association is for everybody. It's not Steve's thing. It's not John's thing. It's not Paul's thing. It's not Sekou thing. It's for all of us. So let's come together and have a national conversation. Your voice matters. That's why when we speak about librarian issue on this platform, because we know our voice matters, so we speak about librarians issue on this platform. We speak about librarians issue everywhere we go because our voice matters. Nobody's holding you. You're welcome to the next meeting. As a matter of fact, the next meeting will be the end of this month. I think it's February 26th. It will be the end of this month. You're welcome. And let's say you can't make it in person because you're at work or so forth. Let us know. We'll give you either a call-in number. Other people do call in that you can call in and participate and so forth. So we have all of these options so that you can be part of it. And hopefully the next time I will call you so you can just listen.
I don't know. I almost started to feel like I remember the organization already.
Thank you so much. Sorry that we had to put this into this conversation, but I had so much text messages and so much information that Steve, don't let this to lie, because there are a lot of gullible people, and the people who are passing this information, they've brainwashed some of these people. So it's critically important that you say something about it. Normally, I wouldn't even give it credence, but the fact that it went as far as trying to incriminate me in public, let me say this, and let me say this to you. I said it before. The thought that I want to run for office in Liberia is lie. I have no plans to do that. No plans whatsoever. I've told you before. I don't even want a job. Whoever wins, I don't want a job. I have a lot of things on my plate, a lot of things to do on this side. We're only speaking because we want a better country. If George Weah and CDC's realign their plans, and focus on our people and get the country to where it's supposed to be, we support the government. We don't want job. I don't want job. Let me say this today. I don't want job. Unlike maybe some of the other podcasters or other people here who propagating. I don't want job. I'm not interested in political job. To be honest with you, I'm not. I don't want you to appoint me as minister. They want no. Because the way I'm looking, if you appoint me and you can steal, I will say you're wrong. Yeah, like people will get problem. You'll get rid of me or you'll fire me. But if you can steal, I will say you're wrong. And if you think me and you will go and steal, that lie. Before as soon as you bring it to me, I'll kind of talk it. Oh yes. So that's why I don't want to be in that area. I don't appoint me. I've done consultancy work. I've done other jobs. Consultancy work, I'm free of charge. You make mistake, I tell you, say you make mistake. I tell you what to do. I do my piece of job, I'm gone. But not for me to pass it around and do praise and worship to you. And I don't want to be into that. So yeah, so that's where we are. And we are inviting all of you. We'll put an open invitation on SKTV to all of you. The invitation will be out very soon for the inauguration.
We will come in Storm, Arizona for that Arizona. How do we manage me for that inauguration? How do we manage so?
Yeah, but it's Arizona has one of the seven wonders of the word. It has one of the seven wonders of the word. So I believe we should, we should come to Arizona so we can go to go see one of the seven wonders of the word. It's very, very beautiful.
It will be warm by then too. So.
Yeah. So those of you who want to come, the inauguration is set for the 21st of May. The 21st.
That might be Memorial Weekend though.
We are ready. Not Memorial Weekend. The following weekend, Memorial Weekend. So you see, I will pick a strategic day. So we are begging you, come. Let's have a good time. We have very, very good time here. We're reaching out to other people. Guess what? I know they come and say CDC now buy us again because get what happy. We are inviting government officials.
But CDC people not him be.
We are inviting the government.
We must look
to tell you how much we must maintain our balance.
It's a balancing
we
act.
Can walk and chew gum at the same time. We can do it.
We're calling out.
We can do it. If you do wrong, we'll call you out. It doesn't mean we're against you or we hate you. So we invite the opposition, we invite the CDC-led government to the inauguration. Even the people who are lying on us, we invite them too. We invite them. Tell. We're talking here. We invite them. We invited that day myself. I will be cooking. I will be part of the. I will be cooking. I will have to cook. So
the way that la bring we are the best. La bring we gotta spread it. La pa. They got I can't wait.
Before
that's what
local. You are more than welcome anytime to Arizona. Anytime you're in the city or you're around the city, let us know whatever we can do to help make your stay here, better. It'll be good. Please don't be stuck to the airport. By yourself, call us, text us, let us know. We accommodate. We do what we need to do. We do what we need to do to ensure. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be on. But tell you posted. I let that flyer you made. That flyer you made, man. You got that kind of talent that you're hiding it.
I'll send it to you later.
But you get a flyer. You hiding it from Benjamin Jonas.
Which one now? Oh,
the mental flyer. Benjamin Jonas one flyer too. The man that's on cover CD.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the man who not be a direct, but he's interested in you.
I was just testing something last night, but I'll send it to you.
Yeah, but it's very beautiful. We'll put it up. Friday we'll be here for the teaser. Friday we'll be here for the teaser. We'll be here for the teaser. So let's come. Tell and I will be here. We'll talk about grief. Sometimes we'll talk about the importance of it and so forth, and the difference. And how people grieve and stuff like that. But thank you so much. I know Sekou has some business that he had to go take care of this morning really quick so that he can be on tomorrow. I know he has some things he had to do today. We spoke about it last night. Maybe that's why he left early on. But definitely Sekou will be on tomorrow. I'm not sure what your schedule. I'll call you anyway. But tomorrow we're discussing this thing in detail.
Yeah, on your own.
Tomorrow we're discussing it in detail. And whether you are working on that, we'll hold you from there. We'll send you someone a strategic text message. We get our text message and maybe they say, okay, yeah, but thank you so much. Tell any last comment before we play our music and be out of here.
No, nothing to say. I think it was a good show. I wish we had Mrs. Thompson on camera, but we'll do it again. She's always willing to talk about governance issues, women issues, women politics. So I'm sure we'll have more of her.
Yeah, I think we should discuss that book. Once I'll order it tonight. hopefully we can discuss our other minds tonight to at least get over it for the next 2 days or so forth. See if I can go through it, read it up so that we can the title sounds very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very interesting. I'm reading some things about it on the side. But I want to go through the full book to see what's up, what's her position. And I know she all the people she was talking, I know she included Willie Maiden inside. I know she get out there. I know she went inside that book. And we'll find what's inside that book. Something that will be in the book. Yeah, but thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Let's have a good weekend. For those of you who are watching the game, I want you to know that I'm supporting Senegal. I'm in solidarity with the West African part of Africa. I support Senegal. I'm a team. I'm supporting them. So maybe we'll see the last few minutes of the game. We know tell you watching the game.
I gotta catch up with my life. And I have to be on FOL in a few hours.
Yes. I will follow. I don't see it. Please tell me be on FOL this afternoon. Tell. I know you let her talk about yourself.
Yeah, no, it's a long coming. So this is a partnership, so we gotta go on the other side. And FOL, it's one of my favorite channels out there too. Besides all being good friends, so I'm more than happy to share a space with them today. Steve is still there?
Yeah, I'm listening to you. So you'll be
I don't have a choice. I'll be there. Yeah, so what next? I'm sorry we couldn't take calls today. I don't know. Yeah. I was hoping that Sekou were going to stay on and then this other phone, the charger somewhere. So I apologize. See, we got to get our telephone game together.
I already set up the number. The next show, you're not happy again, will be there. I'll do it. If it happens, soon it happens. Check out and blast me.
Check out and blast me. The public and we criticize in private.
I say, I didn't go ahead. So let it come from Uber will believe in space for me. Just space for me. Just get a small space and just don't go in deep. No, but I already set it up though. I set it up. I try it. It is efficient. It's ready to go. It's very good.
Maybe we should we're testing your pilot mental health show.
Yes, we're testing on our pilot. That would make sense. We're testing on it, but it's very efficient. It's good. The only I don't.
Let's talk about
yes, like you told me, I don't have to do certain things. That's truth. I don't have to do it, so it's efficient. But yes, have a good day, guys. Thank you so much.
Hey. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Oh. It was gonna be
D12 on the beat.
If nobody talks about you, you are no